Okay, hey everybody, welcome to another episode of On Point EDC. Today we have another great review for you from the brand Monterey Bay Knives, or MBK. They were founded back in 2017 by custom knife maker Laconico and Sanford Owen of Carmel Cutlery. Now, basically, their whole point of being around and really it was just a great project for them to release high-end production knives based on Laconico's designs, and others using various different OEM manufacturers. And what started out as kind of just this fun thing, I think has really developed into producing some of the best knives out there for your everyday carry. Now, this particular type of knife, I consider a titanium frame lock. And really, of course, you're going to have some key common characteristics of design language is you're going to have that, Chris Reeves style integral lock, or it's really just an evolution of the liner lock. And of course, with a titanium handle, some people don't even realize that Chris Reeves invented the frame lock. But yeah, now it's very common and it's being used here. And speaking of Chris Reeve, yes, this does have a very Sebenza-like quality in terms of its simplicity and its use of washers and thumb stud deployment. The retail price on these are $200 directly from MBK, although currently, as I'm filming this, they are sold out. I was lucky enough to get my hands on one, and I've been meaning to review it, so I'm happy to share it with you guys now. So with all that said, let's go ahead, zoom the camera out, get this piece in hand, and take a closer look. All right, now before I pick this up, quick wristwatch check. I'm wearing my Seiko Street Series automatic tuna, and I actually have it on a Seiko Monster bracelet, which I'm really digging. So that's what's flopping around on the wrist, and I figured it was only appropriate just because Ray Laconico himself is a Seiko collector, so I always think that's awesome. So big shout out to Ray if you're watching this. Now, this knife, if I didn't tell you guys already, this is the MBK Old Guard. In particular, it's the mini Old Guard in titanium. And man, I just love the monochrome look. It's very, very just simple, but also really beautiful and has really nice points of detail there. You can see, not a lot of billboarding. You're going to get, of course, the MBK logo. And then even in terms of the steel use, I want to say the way they signed it was a little bit more hidden. And yeah, as you can see, it's right here. M390. Another thing you'll notice is the use of washers there instead of ball bearings at the pivot, which gives this a really smooth and consistent, very glass-like action. It's not drop shutty in the same way that, a Sebenza isn't drop shutty either, because it's, not using, but you can use a couple shakes. But man, this thing is beautiful. I will say that in terms of deployment action, if you rest your fingers on this frame lock, it's gonna stick. It's gonna be really troublesome. So just get used to posturing your free fingers onto this great milled clip here, and you will be able to fire it off much easier. You won't have to build up a bunch of stress behind it. And yeah, it's great. In terms of kind of comparisons, if you're new to the channel, I just figured I'd show you this. Man, ooh, yes, a little EDC action. I love this knife, and I love this simplistic back to basics approach. And it's very simple in terms of the design, but it gets quite advanced when it comes to the execution. Like, this is an integral. This is a single piece of titanium that's been milled out. And yeah, I love this thing. You do get, of course, that nice, did you guys hear that? Super satisfying action. And it's lovely, absolutely lovely. And this is the aesthetic that he's most known for. Ray Laconico makes great looking knives. This particular knife as you can see, it's not signed Laconico, because technically it's a collaboration between Sanford and Ray, and I think they did an outstanding job. Of course, you know, some might see this as a very generic looking knife, and it looks like a lot of other knives that are out there. But you're getting M390. It's from a really great group of guys there, Laconico and Sanford Owen. And yeah, I'm digging it. And then, of course, it's milled out too, which is something. Look at that. They didn't have to do that, but man, I'm glad that they did. They went there and they just added that additional value by pocketing out the show side scale, keeping things nice and light. And it's just a handsome look, man. Everything just flows together. Nice thumb studs, nice belly on this drop point, a blade with a high flat grind, and that satin finish is very, very nice as well. That matte blasted titanium handle is just gorgeous. This thing is just very versatile, and very, very handsome. And it does have a great milled pocket clip as well. Not super deep carrying, but at the same time, it's not like it just jumps out of your pocket anyway. Now, in terms of the length there, we're going to have 7 inches for the main kind of end to end. The blade length itself is about 3 inches, and the handle on its own is about 4. And then in terms of weight, it's only 3.6 ounces, which, you know, it's not lightweight by any means, but it's definitely not heavyweight. And it's considering how much titanium is here, that's a very nice thing. I think it fits in the hand great. That 7-inch kind of that 3-4-7 ratio, I think works really well for everyday carry. It actually reminds me a lot of another knife that's a kind of production take on a custom from another great designer, which is Enrique Pena. And yeah, right, they have a very similar kind of footprint. And yeah, I dig this one too. This one is, you know, this one's on bearings and whatnot, so it's going to be a little bit different. And it also has a lot more contours to it versus here. It's smooth contours, you know, fine chamfers here and there. Here it's going to be, you know, everything's bulkier, everything's more squared and angular. And then, of course, the action not being on washers means that it can be more drop shutty, but you know, washers, there's a certain inconsistency kind of in the speed. They go 0 to hero on that roll. So you can kind of, there's just a certain difference. It's very smooth, don't get me wrong. I love bearings, but there's something about a knife on a nice set of washers that just give you this very, oh man, it's just like a glass, like, there's no change in speed or smoothness. It just rolls, which I really, really dig. So yeah, for me, when it comes to pocket time, these two kind of do see each other, I think, every once in a while, just because they're very similarly spec'd, both being, of course, frame locks with M390 blades and being within that kind of very EDC-able standpoint, something you could carry every day. So did want to pull that in very quickly. It's just something, if maybe you already have something like that, it's quite comparable. I would also say this does, I don't own one, but I've wanted one for a long time on and off, is the Kaiser T1. It kind of reminds me of that as well, but just a smoother design, less contouring. And probably, I would assume, better ergonomics because of that. But because I haven't held that other knife, can't really compare. And that other knife is, you know, an S35 VN blade. This is an M390 blade. So, although slightly more expensive, probably $25 difference. It's more than $25 worth in terms of when you compare M390 to S35 typically, and the differences. Now, In-hand ergonomics, guys, this thing's perfect. I mean, I can wrap my whole hand around it. You know, my fingers don't wander. They really just want to lock in. That action is so smooth. You do have it's still a little bit slower in terms of the open and close because it is washers at the end of the day, but it's still so smooth and consistently smooth, which I really like. It gives you that, again, that glass-like action. And the detent is very nice and it's snappy with a very good thumb stud geometry there for open and close. So I like that a lot. In terms of in pocket, it lays very flat. It's unobtrusive and quite compact. Of course, it's going to go basically up to here. So you'll have this much sticking out of your pocket. So not bad by any means. And if you wanted to, you could tie a lanyard through there and, you know, make drawing the, you know, the knife out of your pocket a little bit easier. And then, you know, in terms of model variants, there are other mini and full-sized OG options, but definitely check MBK's website for availability. As of recording this right now, I don't think there's any available, but they do various batches, and they'll release more, I'm sure, quite soon, as long as this one sold really well, which I would think it did because it sold out. So I'm sure they'll make more of these, and man, I hope they do because it's just a beautiful knife. I really dig it. Materials, fit, finish, details, it's got it all, and it's, you know, from the mind of a great. Although this isn't made in the USA, it's not manufactured here. The designer is in the USA, so that's kind of a trade-off. I know for some other mainstream kind of USA made brands, they'll have designers from all over the world, you know, and that's great. But I think it's nice to also support local designers as well. You know, I don't have any of Ray's custom knives that he makes, but I'd love to. But I tell you what, stuff like this really helps blur the line because it's just that darn good. In terms of comparable options, you know, again, similar footprint to stuff that's out there. I would say for this one, if you're wanting an idea of size and scale, I compare it pretty closely to like the Benchmade Bug Out, which is very popular. You know, but this of course feels way more substantial. It's not plastic handled or anything like that, or even the G10, right? Like, and that knife is meant to be quite thin and lightweight. This one is more, I think, better balanced. It's not trying to be thin or slim. It's trying to fit in your hand good, and then from there they try to do some milling and whatnot to save weight. But that wasn't the, you know, the main priority when they were designing this one. So bottom line, guys, this thing is just perfect for everyday carry. It's super clean. I love the sterile, you know, minimalist aesthetic, but it's definitely robust enough to take some hard use if needed. I'm digging it. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you like the video, please do hit like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe for more content just like this. Thanks, guys.